So let's talk about the equation of an ellipse. So here's my equation of an ellipse. So what does it kind of look like? The center will be what? Same thing it is in a circle. HK. And we really don't have a radius because it's an oval. What we have is a major axis and a minor axis. So the major axis, in the equations that you see here, the major axis is always A. I don't know why they chose A, but they always choose. So A is normally the bigger number. But the bigger number could go under here, under here. It doesn't really matter. The major axis is just the bigger one, is what they say. So, but it's 2 times A. So what does that mean we're going to have to do with A? To get A, we're going to have to do what? Take whatever the square root of this is, and then multiply it by 2. So whatever this value is A squared, so you have to take the square root of it, and then multiply it by 2. What do you think the minor axis is going to be? 2b. And really we could just call these vertical or horizontal axes, or axes, I guess is what they're supposed to be called. Yeah. Y goes up and down, so the number under the Y, so in this case it would be B. Whichever one goes with Y. So it's the number under the y minus k squared term. And so it would be whatever the square root of this is times 2. That was going to be your vertical axis, whatever goes with the y, because y's are up and down, right? Does that make sense? Axis is going to be the other one, right? Horizontal axis. And I guess that's just the best way that I can think of to word that. So it's underneath this, underneath this. This is the vertical one. I mean, this is the horizontal one because it goes, x's go left and right. This is the vertical one because y's go up and down. Right, here's our first example. And I want to know the center. The center is going to be what? 0 and 0. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so which one's the major axis? Major axis is what? 2a. But which one's a squared in this one? Which one's a squared? It's whichever one's bigger. Which one's bigger? 9. And then the square root of 9 is?
Wait, do you always say square root of it?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's 81.
So it's right. So a is equal to 3. So the major axis is 2a. So that's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. So the major axis is 6. So B is going to be what? Minor axis, which is B, is 2 because the square root of 4 is 2. And that's not just dividing by 2, just to reiterate that. So the minor axis is 2 times B, which is 2 times 2, which is 4. In the vertical one, vertical's here, and horizontal is here. No, we did not. You look at the X and Y. Look, the vertical goes under the Y term because Y's are up and down. So just ignore this part if you're going to look at it that way. It's whatever's under the Y minus K squared term. That's the vertical one because it goes with the Y. Whatever's under the Y is going to be the vertical axis. Whatever's under the X is going to be the horizontal axis. Yeah, my. Yeah, you change the sign. Anytime when you pull it out of parentheses, you change the sign. That's a good rule of thumb. When you're taking it out of the parentheses, you change the sign. So 4 and -7 would be the center. Okay. So our first step, what we always need to do is find the number by itself and move it over. So the 11 does, and when I say the number by itself, I mean the one that doesn't have the X or Y. So it's the 11. So I'm going to move it over, and then I'm going to rewrite it like we always do when we're trying to complete the square. And I'm going to group the Y squared together and the X squared and the X together.
Wouldn't it be plus 11?
Should be plus 11. Wasn't paying attention. Alright, so group the X, so X squared plus 6X, and leave you a space to complete the square, plus Y squared, minus 8Y, leave you a space, equals 11. So now we want to fill those spots in. But first, what have we got to do? Yeah, look in front of the squared terms. There's just a 1 there, and there's a 3 here. We're okay if the coefficient's 1. It's not working. Lag. Maybe I need to go stand over in here. Still not working. Okay. So we need to factor a 3 out of this term, but do we have to do anything with the y's? No. So if I pull a 3 outside there, I'm going to have x squared plus what? 2x. And it doesn't affect my blank because I haven't put anything in the blank. And then the y is still going to be y squared minus 8y plus blank 11. So we always do this before we complete the square. Now we can complete the square. Half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So 1 goes in that blank. But what are we going to add to the other side? We're not going to add 1 because we have to distribute this 3 to it. So it's 3 times 1. So we're going to add 3 to this side. Then half of 4. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16. And then since I didn't factor anything out, I just add the 16 to this side. So when I rewrite all this, I'm going to have 3 times, because I'll leave the 3 outside, 3 times x something squared. So what is it going to be? plus 1 plus y minus 4 squared equals 30. In our formula, though, what's the number on the right always? What is it always equal to? 1. So I'm going to have to get this number over here to be a 1, and what I need to do is divide by 30. But if I divide by 30 on the right, I have to divide everything by 30 on the left. So I'm going to divide this by 30 and this by 30. And here's where the problem arises sometimes. Whatever this number out in front with, we've got to reduce it if we can. So it's going to be x plus 1 squared. The 3 will go into 3 one time. It'll go into there 10 times. So we really don't have to write the 1 on top. But the new denominator will be 10 plus, that's weird, plus y minus 4 squared over 30 is equal to 1. So then from there,
What is this going to?
with the bigger number, so major would be, is 2 times a, and a is the square root of 30. I can't simplify the square root of 30, so it's 2 root 30. Then my minor axis, alright, is 2b. b is the square root of 10. I can't simplify the square root of 10, so it's 2 root 10. And what's the center? -1 comma 4. Then the vertical axis is which one? 2 root 30. This is vertical, and this one's horizontal.